Hey everybody, welcome! We're going to do another show today, talk about what's going on in the world of Disney and otherwise. My name is Doobie Mosley. I co-founded Laughing Place along with my wife Rebecca, who's not here. Over there is Kyle Burbank. He's the one that makes it happen on a daily basis. Right now, managing editor. Down there is Sucker of Oxygen, Jeremiah Good. We are happy to have Jeremiah joining us today to talk about a really cool experience he got to do yesterday. But before we get started, let's say some hellos to whoever is out there joining us. Hello, Daniel Rodriguez. Hello, Gio. Nice to see you as always. And Gio said, heard there was a great Bath and Body Works show yesterday. That's very funny. One of my we had to cancel Disney Trivia Live yesterday. Gideon, he's fine, but just was very tired and wasn't quite ready. And so one of my friends posted, "What is the most likely reason that it had to be canceled?" And one of the options was a big sale at Bath and Body Works. So very funny deal. Jeremiah, you a big Bath and Body Works fan?
Not at all. Isn't Bath and Body Works like everything's a sale because they're closing?
That's Bed Bath and Beyond. Wow. Doesn't look
Not
like
the
from
same.
BBW.
That is so not the same. Jeremiah, we don't have to give a disclaimer for you today, do we?
Nope. I'm at
Wow.
summer camp, as Gio said. Not wearing a camp shirt and outside. So.
We better not let Roosevelt see this. They're going to be very disappointed. All right,
I know,
we're
I'm
going to
breaking
start.
my streak of like 500 shows.
We have Jeremiah on today because yesterday he got to experience a journey of what journey. What'd you get to experience, Jeremiah?
Journey of Water inspired by Moana.
At Epcot.
You were
that's
there.
right. Every time I say journey, I just get the song in my head. So we're going to talk to him in just a moment, but
Journey into Your Water, I think, is what it's going to be.
With Figment, yes.
with Moana. But before we get to Jeremiah, we got to do what we do first. As always, we got to take a look at the stock price and the weather. So let's start. All right, Kyle, we're still going within 50 cents.
Okay.
I have faith in you, but we may have to change this within 50 cents. What is the stock price this morning?
87.7.
87.7. Is that 87.70?
Yeah.
Okay. We go down. It is 86.29. You are off by about $1.50. That's a loser. Kyle is wrong twice. The stock continues to disappoint. Jeremiah, since we have you here, we've been doing this with all our guests. You get the advantage of doing it on the 16th. Disney stock today is 86.29. Their high is somewhere around 200. We are predicting what it will be on their 100th anniversary, the closing bell, October 16th, which is 2 months from today. What is your prediction?
I'm not going way out there. I will go at 94 and change.
94 and change is not a precise measurement. So we're going with Jeremiah at 94. I had 95. So if we're playing Price is Right rules, you're screwed. But we're not. All right. Hey, Rich, are you going to be one of the lucky people getting your own paddle with your family name on Castaway Key? I don't know your Disney cruising experience. We'll get to that story in a moment.
Is it Castaway or is it Lighthouse?
Is it Lighthouse? I'm sorry.
I think it's Lighthouse, isn't it?
I assumed it
You're
was
probably-
Lighthouse, but I didn't read it.
Now I got to find out. I forget there's another island.
There's, well, yeah.
We'll get to that story in a moment. Let's let Ethan talk.
Hello and welcome to the Wednesday edition of the LP Disney Weather Report. I never thought that I could be so satisfied. Every time that I look in your angel eyes, a shock inside me that words just can't describe. And there's no explaining. Something in the way you move I can't deny. Every word from your lips is a lullaby. A twist of fate makes life worthwhile. You are gold and silver. I said I wasn't gonna lose my head. But then pop goes my heart. I wasn't gonna fall in love again, but then pop goes my heart. And I just can't let you go. I can't lose this feeling. Let's get to the weather. Anaheim will repeat yesterday with sunny skies and a high of 93 that will only feel a couple of degrees warmer. On paper, Walt Disney World will actually be cooler than Disneyland today with a high of 92, although the heat index will feel like 104. Storms are expected to arrive in the afternoon and stay on the radar for longer than normal, possibly sticking around for most of the night. Additionally, there's a marginal risk for severe wind gusts, so remain weather aware. Castaway Key will be mostly cloudy today and feel like 102. Disneyland Paris is partly cloudy tonight with temps falling through the 70s. Storms are possible later, but should hold out past midnight. Tokyo will be mostly sunny tomorrow and hit a high of 90. Brief isolated thunderstorms are possible in the early afternoon, but the chance of rain remains relatively low for the day. Shanghai is likely in for a wet day as storms will begin in the late morning and will be possible for most of the day. Things should clear up in the evening for at least a few dry park-going hours. Finally, Hong Kong will also experience storms tomorrow, although theirs will likely start and end earlier. After 3 p.m., things should just be cloudy, leaving a high of 88 that feels like 103. That's all for another LP weather update. This is normally when I'd plug things, but I don't want to promote something that may or may not happen, so just ring the bell to get notified when LP actually goes live. Bye for now.
Is that an Ethan dig at me?
I don't know. I don't control him.
Ethan
Wow.
just kind of seemed a little lifeless for most of that. Like he just stopped. He's just like, I'm just going to sit here and talk. Blah, blah, blah.
I feel like he's maybe like in solidarity. He doesn't want to do any acting in solidarity with the strike that's going on. I can't believe Ethan took a shot. I did not recognize today's song.
That's because it's not really an 80s song. It's a fake 80s song from the movie Music and Lyrics. That's Pop Goes My Heart by Pop.
Thank you. I remember Pop Goes the World by Men Without Hats. Men Without Hats. Yeah, same people that did Safety Dance. Yeah, Pop Goes the World. Jenny play drum. Yeah, it was. I'm sure. Anyway, Jeremiah's here. Let's talk about Journey of Water, inspired by Moana. You got to actually experience that yesterday, along with a small group of people. Are you the first? Some of the first non-Imagineers to experience it. Now, you did not get to take pictures or video, so you're not going to be seeing stuff here you haven't seen before, for the most part. Yeah. But you did get to experience it, and you are able to talk about it. We do have 2 images we want to show you. One, Disney sent out today, just an email blast they sent to, I don't know who it was, some Disney World group. I don't think we've seen quite this angle before. It's a really good view of Tafiti. And then Jeremiah himself did get one image while he was in there, and that's him waving at the water. So,
waving at rocks. That's what
Hi, Rob. Yeah,
all right, so tell us.
They gave us 3 images that will be featured later today in my article. This was the one. It was me and one other person. We were the first non-Disney or Disney, whatever. So the great thing is I'll be featured the back of mine. Yes. The back of my body will be featured in somebody else's article.
Good catch, Kyle. Good catch.
So Journey of Water, inspired by Moana, opening later this year. We do not have a date. They didn't tell me a date and say that, hey, you can't say this date until a certain date. We do not have a date.
Late 2023, the page still says.
Exactly. And apparently, according to other sites, they reinforced it by putting it in bold, aka Slow News Day. Doobie, do you have the aerial view that we were looking at yesterday?
Yeah, I'll grab that for you.
Was it in the attraction too?
Oh my goodness.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'll grab that for you while you continue to talk.
Yeah, so we were taken behind the wall. The area, I would say, it's probably about 95% done. So to kind of go over this, the left-hand side, that will be the actual entrance to the attraction. You go in, and then there's the rock work that stars the Heart of Tafiti, and it talks about the water cycle, which, again, this is the journey of water, so it's all about the water cycle. And that's the journey, the water cycle, and then the rain scene follows it. And they describe things that weren't quite ready yet. Again, this isn't open to the public. It's not even open for cast member previews yet. They've done some play testing, which is essentially what we were doing is the play testing. So you can see, and actually zoom in one more time right where you are, Doobie.
Zoom in?
Yeah.
Enhance.
There you go.
Enhance.
See the people that are standing, and then they look like streams of water down there. Those are actually the water harps. And these, like we talked about yesterday, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train had this effect when it first opened. I've seen it in other water play areas where you just run your hand through the water beams, and as it breaks, different sounds happen. So that is the rain area where you learn about rain falling on the rocks and then heading down into the stream, which is the next section, which is also the photo of me waving at rocks. They have different interactive areas, and this is one of them. This is the stream. And you'll walk up, and they have signs that describe what each sequence is. This, as was pointed out by the Imagineers, this is not you're in the movie Moana or you are on the island that I can't think of the name of. This is you're in Epcot and you are learning about the journey of water inspired by Moana. So you'll hear the background music that's Moana. The signs are very reminiscent of the artwork that they do at the beginning. So it's got some fun elements, but it's not overpowering as an IP. What I was doing there is you wave at the rocks in the water, and the water will wave back at you. And like if you wave, like this, it'll kind of explode a little bit. So the interactive areas really do a good job of interacting with the specific person who is in the little kind of area that you're supposed to be in. Thank you, Tony.
In my defense, I wasn't listening.
Wow.
In my defense, I listened to music all day, but I couldn't think of it. So each of the little areas have something that is interactive. The water harp and the stream were the first two, and then as you go throughout, you go into the wetlands, which is the next area, which is more of just a walkway. Yeah, so the stream is on the upper left-hand corner, and then you walk into the spring through the wetlands, and the wetlands have two different walkways. One is the wet walkway, one is the dry walkway, and essentially it's a puddle. So if kids want to sit there and jump on the puddle or kick around the water, that's one side. Adults who don't want to get wet, the dry side. They do a great job of making sure that you don't get wet from the attraction if you don't want to. The other guests there's no guarantee you're not going to get wet from them, but you go onto the springs, then into the land, not the land pavilion, but the land itself, and you learn about how water, runs off. And throughout the entire experience, the water matures, as they kept saying. So when you're at the rain, it's just little droplets of water. And then when you hit the stream, it's small streams of water jumping and the water fountains going. But by the time you get to the end, which is the ocean, which is on the right, and that's where we've seen the play testing of the families doing this and causing the wave to go. The water is crashing against the rocks. There are also very large streams of water going overhead. And again, this is the part where I say you won't get wet from the attraction itself, from the people walking by, sticking their hand up, just like with the jumping water over at Journey into Imagination. You'll get wet unless you're in a raincoat, or I'm sorry, a poncho, Doobie. There you
go. Let's see. You said the BGM there is Moana music that's playing in the background?
Yeah, it was very low. It wasn't very low, but it was subtle when we were there, and they even made a point to say it's down lower than it will be. So when you're going through, you'll hear it, but it's not just all the songs from the movie being played with Moana singing or The Rock. It is just the background music.
No Shiny?
I didn't hear Shiny, which I'm glad, because that ranks up there as a bad song.
Did you get to see Te Fiti?
I did. She is beautiful. She isn't massive. The sign the pole that has the signs on it, that's probably about 9 feet tall, if that. So that kind of gives you perspective of how tall she actually is. She's not almost as tall as Spaceship Earth, like some people are expecting.
Well, so they just put her at the top of the waterfall so that she looks taller.
Yeah, it's perspective. But yeah, that's kind of the that's the end of the water story until you get to the ocean. That's the lake where everything gathers, and then it goes river right into the ocean.
So overall, what is your? How do you think this is going to go over?
How it's going to go over and how I liked it will be two separate things. Myself and our CEO, who got to experience it on the ABD trip, we both kind of say it would be better if it was just a pure walkthrough. But this as an attraction, there is a capacity, so there will be some type of queue. I don't know how they're going to set that up to get people in. And then the interactive elements can cause a backup, especially like the ocean at the end, which is a really cool effect. And if you're there with your family, or even if you're there with yourself by yourself and there are other people around, you guys can all work together and cause the wave to crash. And they did point out that there are Easter eggs or things to unlock as a group. So if it's, everybody's just doing this at different times, the wave will kind of hit. But what we did is we all teamed up and we did it together, and the wave crashed like you're at the Pacific Ocean and it's nailing the rocks.
So you mentioned there's some signage and stuff. Is there a sign warning guests to not go chasing waterfalls and to stick to the rivers and lakes? You're good. It's just for Tony sometimes,
Okay.
No, but there is, because it is a water play area, there is the warning outside. There will be cast members stationed outside. That was one of the questions that we had, because you can walk through there if you have a sealed water bottle, but it's a water play area, so you can't walk through there when you're eating your popcorn or any of that kind of stuff. I'm sure that when it comes to the sodas, they'll be fine, but it is technically an attraction, so no food or drink is permitted on or through the attraction.
Well, anything else you want to say about it?
Edutainment at its finest. When I talk about it in my article, I will say it is a true original Epcot Center type experience where you learn and you enjoy, but you don't have to learn to enjoy, and you don't have to enjoy to learn.
I'm so confused. Okay.
So this cycle of water is better than the circle of life?
Yes. Nobody dies at the end. Well, I guess the water kind of does, because at the end, the final sequence is sky, and they're going to have, mist and everything coming up. So water doesn't die. It just takes different forms.
Thank you, Mr. Wizard. Cool. What else you got going on these days, Jeremiah? Anything you want to talk about? You got coming up?
I don't think he does.
No, I can't say anything. So
Okay. Whoa, Jeremiah's got secrets. Oh, better.
Yeah.
Well,
You'll learn about that in 2 weeks.
I appreciate you waking up so early to be with us this morning.
At this point, just appreciate me sitting outside, because I'm sitting so far away from the camera, you can't just see the sweat coming off me.
And well, thank you for that.
No, Gio, no magic bands needed there. One of the things about the attraction is it doesn't hit you over the head with the IP of Moana. The music's there, but it's not, you don't, unless you know the music well enough, you'll just be like, oh, it's music. Te Fiti and the Heart of Te Fiti are really the only things that stand out. But if you pay enough attention to the rock work, you'll probably find at least a few characters you're familiar with. Not Ariel. Sorry, Kyle.
It's okay.
Thanks, Jeremiah. We'll let you get back to your sweating.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later.
That was Jeremiah Good, our East Coast correspondent here at Laughing Place.
50-50 chance.
For Journey of Water. Thanks for joining us. I know it's early on the East Coast to wake up, around noon and get on here. So, party guy. We're going to move on to our next story, which broke just before we came on the air today, and that is the Disney Cruise Line will be honoring families who have sailed 50 or more times with this. And yes, this is actually at Castaway Cay. It will be near the island post office, so that's shortly after you get off the ship. with a colorful fence that features the names of the families. You can check out the artist's rendering right there. Eligible Castaway Club members will have the opportunity to select one of the beautiful icons below to represent their family's name on the display, and I will show you those beautiful icon choices right there.
Ooh.
Kyle, I think the one on the far right is going to get 90%. That's my humble opinion.
You don't like the pirate ship? Well, it's not pirate ship, just any ship, but I don't know.
I like the cruise line logo. I happen to be wearing, by pure coincidence, the cool cruise line logo today.
You can just feel like you've done it 50 times. This concept art just makes me laugh. The way look, kids, it's rich people. Look how great they are. One day, if you work really hard, you could be on this piece of plywood too.
Kyle is so cynical. I do not get it.
No, why don't they just have they should just have a scoreboard so you can like whoever spends the most, like you can just we talked about yesterday, you could buy
You realize
your way onto a window on Main Street.
our whole living is based on the fact that people spend money on something that's not ultimately not important, but pure leisure. So we making fun of this. It's a slippery slope.
Really. It's silly to be like to show people like really excited, like maybe those kids are pointing, like the dad's pointing out their grandfather or something.
And they are. I don't think people are going to go over there to look at strangers. You go over there to look at your own self or grandpa or whatever. Wow. Yes, that is the question. Will there be a term limit before, Would it be cool though, ultimately, when they do get rid of it, instead of trashing it, they just sink it to the bottom of the bay there and there'd be one more thing for you to find when you go snorkeling? I think that'd be a cool way to handle it. All right, so that's DCL news. I want to point out an article that I thought was fun. Alex Reif, one of the many contributors here at Laughing Place, went down to Disneyland recently and got to watch a panel on how they created 1969 Disneyland for the finale of Wonder Years, currently airing on ABC. And so this is 1969 Disneyland, pretty cool. The panel talked about a lot of the things they went through. I think it's an interesting read. I put a link in the chat. But one of the things I wanted to read, just as an example, in the scene where Ken and Bruce ride the Matterhorn, viewers may notice the ticket books in Bruce's pocket. And they said the tickets were a whole thing where every year they changed the color. So after scouring online photos and videos, they turned to eBay, purchasing multiple used ticket books in an effort to recreate them authentically for the episode. Then the graphic designers put them all together. They also talked about having to recreate the balloons of the period, because they're much different than they are today. And I just find that endlessly fascinating, the efforts that are gone through to recreate a time period like that, and especially for, what ultimately is, in a lot of times, just a small part or a background or something. So please go check that out.
It is cool, but it's just sad that it's for a show that they kind of dumped in the summer and probably won't come back for a third season. So it's the season 2 finale, but it might be the series finale, unfortunately. What? It's true. They dumped it in the summer. It's not. That's not Siegel worthy. That's just facts.
Yes, it is. They must have dusted off the old shape, Mr. Pixler. Yeah. Also, don't forget that thing you do. So, see, when she went to Disney World, it was just today. But when they go historical, that's pretty difficult. Disney Junior has revealed the debut date for their new series of shorts geared toward the preschool set called The Wonderful World of Songs. And guess what that debut day is? It's today.
Oh.
It's today. So you can go check that on Disney Junior as well as Disney Junior YouTube. And it's got an interesting looking Mickey there. So if this Mickey looks good to you, yes.
Yeah,
like that.
Fun Mickey.
I like him. Mickey in all his ways is very cute. His guitar's a hidden Mickey.
I don't know if it's so hidden. We have to have words need to mean something.
Wow. Kyle, in surprising news, Tron Ares has shut down production.
Yeah.
I put that story just in there. this is when I want you to be your Kyle self, and all you say is
So, yeah, no, I definitely thought that was. It's delayed. Well, yeah, of course it is. There's nothing to produce. I mean, I guess it's mostly computer, so you could work on the graphics and stuff. But yeah, with Double Strike, nothing's moving forward. I think it was more about the director had some things to say that were like, I support the strikes, but we need to work together to resolve this. This is frustrating. So it's kind of all, anyone who says anything about the strike that's not 100% support, people kind of it becomes a story, because a lot of these sites don't have, like Deadline and THR don't have a lot to write about right now if there's not casting news and things happening.
Let's see, Murders in the Building, which I watched episode 3 yesterday. Really enjoying the season. Very good. Love Meryl Streep. She's fantastic. They did a song last night, because that's when I saw it. But whenever the episode 3 came out, they did a song. Meryl Streep sang a song, "Look for the Light," which was just beautiful. And as soon as it was over, I went looking for it on YouTube Music, and it wasn't to be found. Apparently, I was just a little too early, because it is now available on the streaming services. "Look for the Light," really sweet song sung by Meryl Streep. Go check that out. Let's see. Adventures by Disney. Final day of my trip report was posted this morning, Kyle. Thank you for getting that up. 7 straight days of trip reports. But here we're only on day 5, so I'm going to quickly go through. Wait, what did you say? You love Martin Short? That is not what I said. I said I'm loving this season of Only Murders in the Building, and I love Meryl Streep.
And that shirt speaks to you. I have, as someone who read your trip reports.
A hanker for a hunk of cheese. That's funny. That actually applied. We talked about that on our last trivia contest. All right, so let's go quickly through Adventure by Disney, Day 5, Quest for the West. We are now at Brooks Lake Lodge. When last you saw us, our first full day at Brooks Lake Lodge. Woke up early, as I do. Walked around the grounds. Gideon was up too, so we walked together. You can see both our shadows down there. And this is just the lodge areas. I think this is probably the spa. No, this is the main lodge, and this is where they get firewood and whatever. Cool little wolfie in front.
Did you feel like you were at Great Wolf Lodge?
I said wolf, not kind of assuming it was a wolf, but not sure what kind of animal it was, forgetting that it was called Great Wolf Lodge, and that was obviously correct.
Well, maybe you're because the California Adventure is supposed to be a bear and looks like a wolf.
Yes, that's why. I just love this. This is the lake in the background, Brooks Lake Lodge. And
nice green screen, Doobie.
It does look like it. Why didn't it call it Great Wolf Lodge? It's not called Great Wolf Lodge. It's
just
called
stepped
Brooks Lake
in front of a Windows.
It looks so fake. It is not fake at all. It is so beautiful that it looks fake. But that is where we stayed for 2 nights, and it was incredible. 3 nights. So our first activity that day was archery. Most people went horseback riding, but we did our own adventure. So we went and played archery with one other family and learned how to arch. It was pretty fun.
First, you were practicing for when you open, what's it, Hawkeye's Pick Your Own Meat or whatever?
There's a throwback. So had no idea what I was doing. It was terrible. And then Ta, that's our guide there, came over and helped us. And then I got pretty decent. I could hit the close target every single time, and the mid target about 1/4 of the time. So archery turned out to be fun. The only part that wasn't fun is you had to go get your own arrows afterwards, and that was not fun. But
and if you're not hitting the target, that could take a little while.
Gave you an incentive to shoot for the close one, not the far one. But it was a good time. Had a great time. Got some fun pictures.
The best photo of all your featured images. That one was my favorite.
You like that one? Okay. Yeah. And then this is looking at some of the other people who went horseback riding. Is that Lou I don't think Lou Mangello's in that shot, actually. Okay, and after we did archery, we didn't spend the whole time archery. We had enough, went back and just relaxed in the lodge. There were dogs all over the lodge, which was really cool. The lodge was great because there were like 25 of us there, plus the 2 guys, but then there are tons of staff there. And the staff, I don't know how or any of them are related, but it felt like it was just a bunch of, a few families. There was a little girl, Aspen, like a toddler, who was walking around, one of the employees' daughters, and then there were dogs all over the place, inside and outside. They were all very friendly. One would play fetch with you. You can see this one just chilling, and it's so cool how well trained they were. There was a dining room, and they would not go in the dining room, and sometimes they would like literally lay right outside the dining room. The door's wide open, but they would not go inside. They would just lay there right at the edge of where they could go, looking into the dining room. So just a great environment, a great at Brooks Lake Lodge. This is the shuffleboard. We played a lot of shuffleboard, well maintained. I mean, this was just a pleasure to play on. And this was our downtime activity. Some shuffleboard, Gideon using Jenga in creative ways. Lunch was incredible with grilled cheese sandwich. The tomato bisque was not good. I learned that on day one, but the grilled cheese was incredible. And so I didn't dip it. I just enjoyed it on its own. These fries were great. And Rebecca had a bao bun, which I now know is redundant. And lunch was at just tables where you would sit where you want to sit, and people always just moved around. So you ended up sitting with everyone because everyone really got along, and that was quite enjoyable. Afternoon activities, you can see I'm relaxing in my case, but no, actually went canoeing. So this is us getting ready to go canoeing. The only bad part of canoeing, well, two bad parts for me, but the first bad part, it is a long walk down there, although I did find out later that you could ask for a ride, but it was a long walk down there and an even longer walk back up the hill. So this is me in the 10 minutes I was on the canoe taking a picture of my son and wife who were having the time of their life while I was, for some reason, not very comfortable on the canoe. So I said, yeah, hey guys, I want to go back in. I went back in. They stayed out. They canoed for quite a while out there. And Gideon really loved canoeing. He was surprised how much he loved it. He really wanted to do it again. So we'll get back to that tomorrow. But Mom and Giddy canoeing while I went back up. Got some pictures of them. And then I did go back up and ask for them to get a ride so that they could come back up a little more comfortably. Yes, this is not a picture or a green screen or whatever. It's just incredible to be at the lodge looking at this site. My son is mean. And this is afternoon tea every day. So there was breakfast, there was lunch, there was afternoon tea at 4:30, which had a charcuterie board with lots of great cheese, and then a cookie that was great. And the first day's cookie was red velvet, and it was just incredible, just incredible. And then they released the horses, which sometimes they run down. Apparently, we didn't get to see that. They just kind of meandered down to the meadow. But it was still cool to see all these horses just meandering. Yeah, it was. We checked out the spa, just kind of walked around. There is a spa there that's for use for anybody, no charge unless you want an actual spa treatment. The hot tub is open, just ask that you remove and replace the cover. It started to rain there, which was kind of surprising. It actually started to, I guess not hail, but something that's similar to hail. I don't know all these weather things. Remember when Mike thought it snowed at Disneyland? But anyway, white stuff came out of the sky. It was just cool. It came and it went. It was kind of fun. That wasn't me, that was an ad. Then we had dinner.
Clarifying. I mean, it did look like it could have been you.
Yeah, in a hot tub, yeah. Dinner was bison. Well, there was a choice, but one of the choices was bison, which multiple people have said was just the most amazing thing they've had. Bison is incredible. I'm a vegetarian. I didn't eat it. But yesterday, Monday, WDW Radio put out their podcast of this trip with several of the guests on the podcast. I'm one of them. And so please go check that out. But when talking about their favorite food, that was one of the questions he asked. I think 3 different people said this bison was their favorite food of the trip. And one person said it was simply the best thing they've ever eaten. So
I feel if bison were that good, more places would serve it. So,
oh my goodness, I am so wrong.
All,
So I am so wrong. Everything I just said about the bison was yesterday. This is not bison. This is why I'm a vegetarian, because I don't know what I'm eating. This is pork chops. So thank you,
It's
Rebecca.
not just vegetarians. When we were at Becca's mom's house, she was having a burger, and she's like, "Is this real chicken or fake chicken?" We're like, "It's pork."
So white meat. So everything I said about the bison is true. It just all happened the previous day. The second night there, was a family-style meal with pork chops. So this is the pork chops, which of course I didn't eat either. For vegetarians, they had the vegetarian pumpkin enchilada, which was amazing, like every single thing I had there. And then they had ahi tuna as the other dish. I believe this is what my wife had. And again, all the food was spectacular. After dinner, They did this cute display with the moose drawings that I talked about yesterday. And then it was poker time. So this was the second night where we played poker. This time we got a little serious. We planned for it. We were going to have a tournament. Everyone got the same number of chips. If you lost your chips, you were out. And we would see who was left standing at the end. And who was left standing at the end, but organizer, the man himself, WDW Radio's Lou Mangello. Congratulations, Lou, for taking all our money. We did not play for money, but congratulations, Lou, for winning the tournament and showing us all up. It was the poker every night. We did it all 3 nights, was the highlight of the trip. It was so much fun getting to know everyone in that way and playing poker at the most beautiful place in the world. So that was day 5 of the trip. My strategy was to pick my. I never got good cards, so I just assumed I never would get good cards. That's just a fact. So just pick my times and then bluff. And in fact, I had this saying that actually became a thing around there: "Doobie, don't bluff." And then people quickly realized that that's a lie.
So you just like wait till you're big blind and then play?
Wait till my big blind?
Wait till you're big blind?
You already know more about poker than I do. I waited until it felt right.
Okay.
And then I'm like, yeah, this is the one. Put that face on like, oh. Yeah, I raise you. I raise you. It worked once, but just once. Okay, so that was my adventure by Disney. Day 5, I'll do day 6 tomorrow, and day 7, the wrap up on Friday. And all of this is on Laughing Place. If you'd like to read day 5 on your own, or go into lots of detail, there's a link for you. Please go check it out. Kyle.
Yeah.
Let's do the stand Disney history first, and then we're going to come back and talk claim to fame.
Yes.
Spoiler stuff, so if people want to get out before that. This day in Disney history, the portion of our show where Kyle shows off his knowledge or lack thereof. On this day in 1924, I can't imagine he's not a Disney legend. He's certainly one of the most well-known Disney figures of all time. There may have been a time where he was the most famous actor on Earth, sort of, kind of. Mostly well-known for one historical character that Disney did a show about. Was at the opening of Disneyland.
Fess Parker?
What is that name?
Fess Parker?
Fess Parker, you are accurate. Kyle, really good. Happy birthday, Fess Parker. I don't believe you're with us anymore, but happy birthday nonetheless.
Has wine. You could have wine.
On this day in 1954, a film was released. The film explores the incredible plant and animal life of the vast American prairie, which stretches from Mississippi to Colorado, and reviews the now extinct animals that flourished on the prairies before the arrival of the Europeans.
I don't know.
It is the true life adventure, The Vanishing Prairie. All the clues were there.
I got half of that. The true life adventure part.
On this day in 1955, 1 month after the park opened, an attraction opened at Disneyland and Fantasyland. I didn't know it was late.
No. Well, Phantom Boats?
No, although on this same day, the Phantom Boats were renamed from the Tomorrowland boat. I'll give you half credit for that. On this day in 1958, an actress was born. Lots of Disney credits.
Haley Mills.
No, lots of current Disney credits. A big one in the MCU, not a primary character, but a major secondary character in the MCU. Also in Meet the Robinsons, Mr. 3000, narrated Whispers, An Elephant's Tale.
Why can't I think of who this is?
I believe she was also Tina Turner in a movie.
Oh, Angela Bassett?
Angela Bassett, that is correct. And of course, now known for Black Panther. And finally...
She also did something at one of the parks recently. Maybe, did she do Candlelight, or there was something else that she narrated? Like, was there a fireworks show she narrated? Am I making this up? Disneyland Forever, maybe?
Tony, you out there? Hope so. And finally, on this day in 2012, something debuted in cyberspace.
Something debuted in cyberspace in 2012.
And it's Disney. Enchantment. Thank you. Good job. Good job, Kyle. And it is Disney. It's not like some fan site or something. Something Disney debuted in cyberspace.
It wasn't the Parks blog?
You basically have it. It was the official company blog before they separated out a parts blog. It's now just the blog of the Walt Disney Company. But at the time, it was called the Disney Post.
All right.
Good job. Kyle, you were essentially perfect on that one. Essentially. Sort of. We are now going to talk about Claim to Fame, the incredibly entertaining show on ABC, or if you're on the West Coast, on Hulu this week because of other things coming up and bumping it to Thursday. So we are going to spoil this past Monday's episode. If you do not wish to be spoiled, thank you for joining us. Dude, Billy Idol.
It wasn't. I mean, that was the name that they floated before they floated the Elton John one, because they're taking the Idol too seriously and not thinking that the 70s are completely different than the 80s. So this one wasn't as funny to me as the whole Elton John thing, because like at least this like JR like probably knew it was wrong, but just didn't have another option. Whereas Hugo, rewatching that, we actually watched the entire episode again with my mother-in-law, and she was cracking up just as much as we were the first time. And yeah, just how cocky Hugo, Chris, I think you're clean. And
Yes.
So it wasn't as funny as that. In fact, Beck actually said this was the saddest elimination for her.
Really?
Just the entire segment. She just felt bad about it.
Aw.
But yeah.
I didn't because I thought
people really can't.
I liked the beginning of it, the argument between Donny
Gabriel
Osmond
and Chris.
No, wasn't it? Yes, sorry. And they were arguing, like accusing him of double crossing him, which is the whole point of these reality games. But then making it personal by saying, "Oh, you've just lived this privileged life," and that set him off so much. He really did not appreciate that. So I'm rooting hard for Donny Osmond. I'm hoping it means a whole new generation will learn who Donny Osmond is, because apparently there's a generation that absolutely doesn't, which is funny because taken at the height of their fame, he is one of the more famous people, I think, on this season's Claim to Fame. I mean, at the height of his fame, he certainly was more famous than, Nick Cannon at the height of his fame and a lot of these other people.
But what's funny is that there's so many like red herrings like in the art and stuff like that. But some of the stuff isn't meant to be. Like having those dossiers and the fact that it said colorful coats because they're talking about Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat has thrown them so far off. They're so hung up on that they're ignoring all the really important stuff like Utah. They still thought Elton John, even though it says he was born in Ogden, Utah.
The problem is, and thank you, he said pampered life, not privileged life, which is definitely different. But the problem is they don't know who he is. So they can get hung up on Utah if they want to. It's not going to help them. When they say Donny Osmond at the end of this thing, they're going to go, who?
He's in that Weird Al video. Or they'll be like, wow. Yeah, it looks exactly that. Once they realize it, if anyone actually does know who Donny Osmond is, it's going to be hilarious. They're going to be like, how did we not see this?
No, it's not possible. So the only way he can lose is if he gets put up there and he doesn't know someone else, obviously, because no one is going to guess him at any point.
Well, they don't know JB Smoove either. Like, that's pretty clear. Like, Monet's safe because they haven't connected that dot.
Loved Monday's challenge where they had to go stand on the famous person that connected the chain. That was a very clever game. I like that a lot. Do you think if there was an Aunt Marie clue, they would get it? Who's Aunt Marie?
Well, if Donnie is an uncle, possibly.
Oh, thank you very much.
If it's his father, then Marie would be the aunt.
That is the one way.
Looking back, rewatching the one we also rewatched the one with the telephone, and I thought about those clues differently than I did the first time that I watched it, where it talked about like little sis came along. I was thinking maybe that's probably about Chris, and promoted where betting is legal. I thought that was about Donnie, but that's probably about JB Smoove because he's Caesar for the Caesars ads.
Okay, yes. I've been trying to keeping my mouth shut. Who is Aunt Marie? That's
I
almost as
wasn't-
bad as not knowing who Donny Osmond is.
If she said who is Marie, I would have made the
Donny Osmond, and Marie throws you.
Yes, it did because of the aunt part. So I was thinking of something in his career. It is, but never mind. Shut up. Anyway, claim to fame, ABC, I believe, airing tomorrow if you're on the West Coast
10 o'clock.
because they got booted
Seems
by
like there's
some
probably not
news
going to be
item on
one
Monday.
next week because there's the 3-hour Bachelorette.
Oh goodness. So they're down to
Can I ask you
4,
guys-
and Kyle knows who all 4 are. You're very confident, right?
I'm like 98% confident.
Yeah, we got full confirmation of Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yes.
And-
So then I guess I'm 100%.
Yeah, and I gotta say this. This is my bum fights too. I called Donny Osmond the second I saw him. The second he showed up on screen. Oh, I'm Donny Osmond, so I'm. Hey, Rebecca says, since Ben jumped in, can you explain how great Summer Party is?
Great Summer Party. Summer Party is the best Disney movie released this year. I don't mean DCOM. I don't mean Disney branded. I mean, so far. I mean, it's only August, but
Right. All the good movies they save for the end. Yeah.
well, for Emmy season. Yeah, it's a lot better than it should be.
It was good. You can watch that on Disney Plus.
Can I
While
ask
it
you guys a
lasts.
question? I don't know if you did this before I started watching, but I'm curious. I'm going to ask again. Since
Go
it's
ahead.
National Roller Coaster Day,
Uh-huh.
what's your favorite Disney roller coaster?
Great question. Did not even know it was National Roller Coaster Day. Great question. Kyle, do you have an answer?
France's Big Thunder.
Of course. That is a, you know what? I'm going to say the Matterhorn. I love the Matterhorn.
Not Slinky Dog.
I love Slinky Dog, and Slinky Dog's probably more fun. Rock and Roller Coaster, I love to ride that because it's got a thrill. Same thing for Incredicoaster. But just the classic Matterhorn, I'm in love with that. I've probably ridden that more than all of them, just going back to the '90s when I first started going to Disneyland. Such a fun, simple ride. So yeah, I'm going with the Matterhorn. How about you, Ben?
I'm going to go with, I forget the official name, but the Grizzly Gulch Coaster.
Another fun
Okay.
one. Yeah, I always forget that one too.
So for both of you guys then, to be more relatable to people like me, what's your favorite domestic coaster? Disney coaster.
Probably just Disneyland's Big Thunder then.
Okay.
I mean, I think space is more interesting. Like, I wish I could do space more, but as I'm getting older, that one gives me more of a headache than Big Thunder does. So,
I really like the Cosmic Rewind experience, but I don't know that the coaster part is the best.
How could I forget that?
wait, what about? I didn't know. Rockin' California Screamin'? Is that?
I like
forget it.
Rockin' Space Mountain the best.
No.
Ghost Galaxy Space Mountain.
Disney does not make bad coasters, in my opinion. At least of the one I've done all the ones in North America, or I could just say the United States.
Well, have
and
you?
the
So
same result.
you've been on what was Mulholland?
I have not done that one.
Haha!
Primeval World.
I can't fit in those cars, so I couldn't imagine you fitting in those cars.
Okay, Disney does not make bad real coasters. Not
Well,
just
yeah,
buying something off
Disney
the shelf.
didn't really make that coaster. We can say.
I'm also not including Gadget's Go Coaster, Goofy's Barnstormer, but of their real coasters, every one of them I think is pretty solid. Flaky
So
Dog, Space Mountain.
Speaking of Wonder Years, the Matterhorn. One of the things I thought was interesting was Alex was like, they went through all this detail to make sure the tickets were right and what Mickey was wearing was right. But I guess there's a plot point where they're wrestling against the air gates at Matterhorn.
Yeah.
I don't think they had air gates in 1960.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. And no one notices. All the effort, no one notices. All right, I think that is going to do it for today. It is a one-show Wednesday, I believe. So this is it. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back tomorrow morning to do this again with whatever is going on in the world of Disney. And think that's it. Bye, everybody.